Welcome, everyone. I'm Nina Easton, co-CEO of Sellers Easton Media, and I'll be your moderator today for this timely and incredibly important conversation. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic is not just a health crisis, it's an economic crisis. Business shutdowns and stay-at-home orders have come with a tremendous human cost. Just yesterday, the U.S. government reported another 4.4 million people applying for unemployment. That brings the 5-week total here, just in the U.S. alone, to 26 million. But there are companies hiring as they ramp up to deliver food and the supplies of daily life at home, or they offer technologies for remote living and working. People+Work Connect aims to connect organizations on both sides of that job equation, putting people to work, back to work fast. We have with us here today 4 extraordinary executives, all Chief Human Resources Officers who came together to make this happen. And believe it or not, concept to reality in just 2 weeks. Please meet Lisa Buckingham of Lincoln Financial Group, Christy Bambianchi of Verizon, Pat Wadors of ServiceNow, and Ellyn of Accenture, who built the People+Work Connect platform. And later in the program, we'll hear from users of that platform, CHROs from both sides of the job equation, Donna Morris of Walmart and Christine Deputy of Nordstrom. But first, Ellyn, let's start with you. Tell us how this came together in just 15 business days.
Hi, Nina, and hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. It's a real pleasure to be here with everybody. Just a few weeks ago, we were convening a group of CHROs to really discuss how CHROs need to lead differently in this time. Our CEO, Julie Sweet, came to talk to us about the view from the top and the important role CHROs can play in not only a financial and a crisis for finances, but also a societal crisis. And so the group of CHROs started talking about the things that we could do uniquely to really lead in a different way. And we started discussing that not only do we have this opportunity to really make an impact, but an obligation to look at the problem beyond the walls of our own company. And so the job numbers were just coming in at that time, the first set of unemployment numbers, and we felt a huge sense of urgency. So as Nina said, we conceived of this matching platform, a way to connect HR people to HR people on both sides of the job equation. And in 14 short business days, we launched the technology platform, which really forms the basis for conversations and collaborations around the globe, across industries, to help connect people to work with a very simple mission of putting people around the world back to work.
So, Ellyn, I can't help but notice we've got all women on this panel, women at the forefront of making a solution happen. Coincidence?
Well, I don't know. I was actually thinking about that the other day because an article was published with that as the headline. And I really think about equality in the world. I don't really think about gender difference. But I started doing some research to see if there was anything about the headline of the article. And I did note that there is quite a bit of research about how women use relationships to accelerate change rather than just broadcasting and telling people what to do. And I think maybe that might be at the very heart of how Pat, Lisa, Christy, and I came together so quickly to really work this collaboration, not about us, but about the people that needed to be served and the companies that needed people to serve their clients.
Yeah, and I think accelerating change is really what we need to be seeing right now. We're seeing it on the medical front, and it's so great to see you all taking this step on the economic front. So, Pat, could you describe exactly how the platform works? Take us inside the whole matching process.
Sure, happy to. So The platform is basically a B2B platform, Nina. It is meant to facilitate between business leaders what is the supply and the demand, right? And it's for those companies that are very compassionate, taking the time basically to get onto the platform, showcase the employees where they are, what type of skills, what roles they play, by geolocation, and saying, I've got furloughs, I'm doing a layoff, please help me match them to demand. And then the companies that are hiring basically do the counter to that. They load their jobs that are looking for by geo, zip code, by title, by skill set and experience. And the technology helps us facilitate who should talk to whom during this time to ease the burden of the match. So I will know that if I'm looking for amazing talent, I'm going to give Ellyn Shook a call because she matched with me in the New York area. And so I'm going to go deeper into the metropolitan area because that's where I'm hiring. And I'm going to see where the jobs are or the laborers exist that being let go. And I will start reaching out to my peers to create that connection. So the platform is amazing. The magic, however, is that human to human connection to remove the friction in this process. So what if, imagine a world between HR leaders where I accept Ellyn Shook's company's background check. They have the same 5 points or 7 points that I look for. I can remove friction and get her talented people to hire faster so they don't have the loss of income for themselves and their family. So if we can be creative as talent leaders, if we can index on being perfectly imperfect for care, I think we're going to change the world. I mean, it's a compassion project.
So I should remind our audience, you can use the chat function to submit questions. And one of the questions that comes to my mind about how this works, it's really aimed at large companies with 100 slots, right, on either side of the equation. Can you talk about that a little bit? And what about small businesses who are being hurt in this environment?
So we're starting with that threshold. I think as we get faster in our enrollment and the capability with the workflow around this platform and the opportunity to talk and connect, we may lighten up that restriction of 100 jobs. I know there's a lot of people impacted. Every job matters, every life matters. So we'll continue to look at that, but we need to get some robustness in the platform to start. We need to learn and iterate, and we've done that in the US, and now we're going global. So I'm super excited with the opportunity.
That's great. So, Lisa, if you could take us into some of the critical ingredients that were in your minds as you were just designing this platform.
Oh, so it's so fun and serious all at the same time. Hearing from Pat and Ellyn and just thinking back about how it all started, and many of the ingredients are gifts that we wanted to really build upon. So first, Pat thoughtfully said a compassion project. And Ellyn talked about the purpose. And so the critical ingredients, I would just say, great relationships between the founding CHROs started this. So it started from a conversation, and then with our relationships, we took it further. So here we are. Lots of care for every single person. I think you'll hear that throughout our conversations today. But we did hear a rallying call, and that was really to help the workforce, both domestic and globally. So quickly, how did we get this happening? So here's where the magic happened. We started thinking about the design principles, and we have amazing developers from Accenture who made this happen. But some of our principles were speed of execution over perfection, an agile operating philosophy, a B2B model. Again, this was built pro bono. This is not a moneymaker for anyone. This is really to reinforce our purpose so we can make this happen. We really believe, and we've had many conversations about this in those 14 days, so we quickly decided that we really needed to clarify what the platform is and what it's not. So what it is, it's no cost. It's no cost to employers, no cost to employees. It's straightforward connection to companies. So it's really, we want to work at speed. We want to work at scale. You heard companies with 100 openings or 100 workers. So that was really important. So again, for talent suppliers, for the impacted people and talent role suppliers that have open positions. So this really was part of our massive design principle. First phase, private sector. Phase 2 will go into public sector. As Ellyn used the language inclusive, I just love that because that was part of our design factory as well. We have geographic matching in this, and you see in the slide that we're offering today as well. So we've successfully started with North American talent and opportunities, and on Monday we go global. I know that Pat mentioned that, and we'll work through industry, role, country, region, and city. And again, there may be opportunities to go across industry, so we're really excited about that. Let me also clarify what People+Work Connect is not. It's not a human capital management system. We're not an applicant tracking system. We're not recruiting, and we're not an outplacement services firm. It's a job board for companies. We are not a job board for individuals. There's no personal data on the platform. It's really, really important. This is how our execution to the talent exchange will happen. This is between the two companies. Pat talked about this trust. This is really breaking down barriers and getting HR talent and our internal business leaders and internal recruiters really talking and learning what will work when we're making these transfers. So really quickly, one last thing that we're not doing the onboarding for transitioned organizations, but we're helping facilitate those conversations. Again, our ultimate goal is to get the world back to work. That was the premise that started the conversation. I'll never forget that conversation. We want businesses across all industries to join. We have a simple enrollment process. We just need information. We can talk about process for those interested. Our HR, the results of this, our HR networks are going to continue to expand. Think about how this small group of CHROs started and built this. Now we want to touch the world and all of the HR talent. So again, getting people back to work. And this is the time to help navigate with this platform. Ultimately, our main goal, continue getting people back to work. The design was completed with compassion, agility, and foremost, just really people around the world in our minds. So I really truly hope our HR and business leaders will work together and just continue to make this happen. So I hope everyone stays well. And Nina, thank you for the question.
Fighting words, Lisa. I love that. Christy, I know this is early stages here, even though you're going global on Monday, but what has been the response from companies so far? Take us into that.
Thanks so much for that question, Nina, and for everybody that's taken the time to join us on LinkedIn Live today. We're so excited for the opportunity to talk to you about this important effort. We are overwhelmed by the support from the HR community and their strong response to the effort and our outreach to them. We definitely want to thank all the founder companies that joined with us so that on that 14th day, we were able to go live with 10 companies on our platform, and you're going to hear from some of them here in a moment. And we're so grateful for them because they were really founders and pioneers with us to do something different. We also have, here we are today, just a few days later, we now actually have 25 companies on the platform live. We have 39 whose data is in the process of transmission to the platform. Should be in any day, any hour now. We also have 157 companies that have an enrollment coordinator assigned to them from the teams of the people who you've heard from on this call. We have teams of enrollment coordinators from our HR organizations who work with the companies joining the platform to explain to them the platform, help them organize their data, help take the feed over, and give user tips and guidance. In addition to that, we have another 111 companies that have confirmed interest. And with the advent of going global starting next week, we also have 80 global companies in the queue. So we literally have hundreds and hundreds of companies, not just that have said, tell me more, but they're actually interested and are in the queue coming live on the platform. So we just cannot say enough how excited we are about the response and the engagement. I would say the other thing I would share, and you've heard it through some of the dialogue of my colleagues, and I know we'll hear a lot more from our other guests that are with us today. I think at the front end, there was a little bit of what is it and what isn't it. And I think Lisa really worked to define that on the call here. And we're doing something really different. We're trying to create this B2B exchange among HR leaders and really accelerate the contact. Many of us were receiving emails from fellow CHROs or outreach from other HR associations, many of whom helped found and amplify the word about this idea. And why I think we got such great responses, individually, each of us were doing heroics to try to help our people or help find landing spots in our company for dislocated workers. But this is such a huge task that any one of us on our own could only make so much impact. And so as we reached out to peers and through our networks and the HR associations, there was a relief, almost like, oh my gosh, I've wished there was something like this for a long time. So we're excited to be here sharing the strong support from the HR community. And I think a really time where the world is looking for us to lead and help solve this critical crisis. So I'll turn it back to you, Nina, and look forward to the dialogue.
Thanks so much, Christy. This is a good opportunity now to bring in two users of the system, Donna Morris of Walmart and Christine Deputy of Nordstrom's. They are on both sides of the equation here as users of the platform. Christine, I'd like to offer this first question to you. Obviously, some sectors of the retail industry have been significantly impacted in the last few weeks. Describe how People+Work Connect is helping Nordstrom and your people.
Thanks, Nina. I'm really excited to share with this group and share a little bit about our experiences. Obviously, with Nordstrom, we had to make a decision to close our stores to really protect the public and protect our employees as we were dealing with and understanding this COVID crisis. And so out of a 70,000 workforce, we put about 50,000 people on furlough. And the day we made that choice and that decision, it was really, really difficult. And all of those folks are still part of the Nordstrom company. They're our employees. We care about them. They're part of our family. But we immediately went to work to try and find a way for them to continue to work and find opportunities. And so, we're all networked, and luckily I have some phenomenal connections with folks, especially some of the people on this call. And we started making phone calls, and we did some work that way. But when I heard about this opportunity, this was such a godsend, because we had so many issues that we were navigating and dealing with, as all of us in the HR role are. This made things easier. And so we were absolutely ready to raise our hand. And I think the way that the design is set up, where it's really business to business, it's HR leader to HR leader, and we're able to facilitate the dialogue so much more quickly, we are really finding that we're opening up opportunities for our people. And I think what's really important is that it's breaking down barriers. And I think, Pat, Ellyn, everybody's sort of commented, Lisa, everybody, that this is about being boundaryless and really thinking about what's the community for our people. And it's hyper local. So, we've got folks that are all over the US and, in Canada, and we've got folks that don't want to have to drive or relocate or move somewhere else to be able to keep working. And by having so many employers on this site, it gives us the ability to offer up opportunities where folks can do this and stay working, stay employed, and then eventually, hopefully come back to us on the other side when we reopen our stores and continue to operate and provide hours for folks. So it's just been it's been a bit of a relief, because doing this one-on-one is really challenging. And all of those folks who partnered with us early on and those one-on-one conversations were great, but now we're kind of amplifying in a way that's really, really helpful.
So, Christine, I first of all want to say, on behalf of all of us, we want to offer our heartfelt thoughts for you. We know this is a really difficult time. Talk a little bit more about that creation of innovation that happens when you get outside the walls, and where we might see this moving forward, even beyond this.
Well, I think the reality is that today our employees, the workers of the world, it's not just a one-on-one relationship all the time. And I think that for us as HR leaders, we need to be thinking about work differently. And the ways that we used to work pre-COVID are not going to be the ways we work. There's no going back to normal. It's going forward. And so I think our ability to leverage our networks across this community and be more open and have more dialogues, I think provides a different level of engagement with our employees, and also provides that relationship from an employer brand standpoint that I think is amplified. So when you do good, when you do think about those workers first, then they have a different relationship with you as a brand partner. And I think relationships, when you quickly escalate those relationships that you've built and then be open to the new relationships, you get to hear different ways of thinking, and different industries approach things in different ways. And all that, I think, really breeds that innovation. And I think it becomes a very positive cycle, sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy in a really good way.
So let's bring in Donna Morris of Walmart. Donna, are you able to join us? I believe it's going to be audio.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you talk about, you're obviously needing to ramp up your workforce, and how has People+Work Connect helped you do that?
Absolutely. Well, let me start by saying thank you very much for having me join. And, the story for Walmart is different. We're on the front line serving Americans, and then around the globe where we operate, making sure that people have the necessities given this unprecedented period. And so in March, we made a commitment to hire 150,000 frontline associates to support our stores, our clubs, our distribution and fulfillment centers. And we introduced a 24-hour hiring process to ramp us up. And frankly, we were making great momentum, but 150,000 people in short order is a huge goal. And we frankly were looking for individuals that, for the most part, were temporary, exactly in the focus of People+Work Connect, because we knew that there were going to be exceptional individuals that were impacted by the economic circumstances of COVID. And we knew that they would need to be employed for a period of time, and then they'd go back to their former employer. So what we have been finding is, on average, we're hiring 5,000 associates a day. Upwards to 85 to 90% of those people are actually furloughed. And when we found out about the People+Work Connect opportunity, we said, absolutely, we will we'll be part of this, because to keep up the momentum, it will only help us, and it will make sure that we have frontline associates. So we completed our initial 150,000 goal in terms of associate hiring. Last Friday, we made the announcement of an additional 50,000 new associates. And we're thrilled that we can be part of supporting this initiative that provides continued employment for people in such a difficult period of time. So once again, very, very proud to have Walmart participate by virtue of the opportunities that we have at this time.
And Donna, I speak on behalf of everybody. I think we're so happy you are participating, because it really is contributing to the better job numbers than we're seeing in the newspapers. I wanted to throw a question out, and I'll let Ellyn direct the question, which is, give us a sense of the range of jobs. I mean, Donna's talking about the Walmart associates. There's also, of course, it ranges up through biochemists and scientists. I mean, we shouldn't just think about it in terms of one type of job, correct, Ellyn?
Yeah, Pat, would you like to take that?
Sure. So there's a ton of different types of jobs that are going to be posted on this amazing platform. You have hospitality, you have service, hourly workers, you have engineers, you have people in the IT support, customer care. As we get broader in our use case and load up the data from all these amazing companies that are in queue, we will see way more opportunity out there for everyone to take advantage of and embrace for the world, actually, for themselves and their families. So I'm super excited about that opportunity. And I think that as we roll it out and scale it, we'll learn more.
So here is a question, Ellyn, from LinkedIn. Will you make this a permanent product and roll it out globally beyond this crisis and upgrade it frequently?
Lisa, do you want to take that?
Happy to. We are going to keep this platform alive until it's not needed anymore. So that's a huge commitment that we've made.
That's a great commitment. Let me ask, here's another question that just came in. This is from the UK. How are you supporting companies to manage the transition of transferring in or out these employees?
Christy, this is a great one for you.
I love this question because I think this is another area where HR leader to HR leader and teams across HR functions can innovate together. So on the platform, we will have something called the Knowledge Exchange, and we've already populated it with some insights from companies that are in the founding coalition here. And in that, you'll find insights on ways to handle movement of employees from one company to another, whether it's around background checks, visa status, benefit programs, furloughs, all of the variety of things. Again, these are just insights. And whichever company has provided their insight has contact information there. So the HR leaders in the platform can reach out directly to them to learn more. And as the leaders connect on the platform from a sending and receiving organization, they then can either rely on those insights, use their own insights, and as we begin to develop a user community, we'll be able to add more insights and experiences from people on the platform. So I think that's something we're very excited about, and we're also mindful in the what is it, what isn't it. We're not providing people advice. We're not telling people how to do it. We will just be able to offer insights from companies that have been down this road before. And I know from various HR leaders reaching out to me or whom I'm reaching out to, often we're doing that. Like, hey, have you done this before? How did you do it? Can you give me some ideas on how I might think about this? And here again is another way in which the platform will help drive speed, utility, innovation, and sharing for all the members.
Thank you. Here's another question from LinkedIn. Why B2B only? Why not facilitate connections and matching for employees?
All right, I'm going to take that one myself. When we were conceiving of this originally just a few short weeks ago, we knew that speed and global and frictionless were keys to our success because we felt an enormous burning platform. And so in order to launch something like this in 2 short weeks, we had to just make some big decisions. And so the first one was no personally identifiable data. And for those of you watching who are in HR, you know what that means. It means that we are not violating any data privacy, any GDPR rules, so that we could be fast to solve this to help start solving this problem. And so we felt that we know how HR people can collaborate. And we felt that by having the B2B platform available, it would actually start getting people back to work at speed and at scale.
And I would just do a follow-up with Donna Morris at Walmart. Donna, just anything that's been a challenge when you come from the hiring side that in using the platform or in a B2B function?
No, not at all. I mean, in fact, our team was already partnering with a lot of other organizations that had a similar intent. They were really trying to navigate finding opportunities. So to have a single platform to facilitate is so much easier. So, certainly from my perspective, it's a win-win.
Great. Ellyn, we have another question from LinkedIn. What is one aspect of this solution that you find reflects the compassion you wanted to put into this program?
Well, Pat Wadors has coined this our compassion project, not our passion project. So I'm going to toss this to her.
Thank you, Ellyn. I think every time a leader considers the impact of these difficult choices to reduce their workforce to furlough and puts the human in the middle of that decision for care is compassion. And so if you think about shortcutting the time from unemployment to gainful employment to feeling like you matter, that you're being cared for, and there's advocates for you, I think that's compassion. Compassion is clearly something we strive for. It is empathy plus action, and this is a manifestation of that. And I couldn't be more excited to be part of this. So super excited where this takes us.
Great. Ellyn, we have another question from LinkedIn. How are you planning to share the progress? Are you tracking it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly?
Christy, do you want to share our milestones?
This would be great. We are very ambitious, and we are going to celebrate at the 10,000, the 100,000, and the million mark of people that we've helped and jobs that we've helped fill. So we're very excited about this, and we've got great support from our members and our CEOs to do that. We also will be coming up with KPIs and talking to the member communities. And I just want to say thank all the folks that are here. We're doing this a couple of hours a night, a week. So we are checking in 3 to 4 times a week as the founder team here on progress and enrollment coordination and what we could be doing to help get all of you, hopefully, on the platform as fast as possible.
So Ellyn, we also have some questions coming in through other social channels. Here's one. How fluid can the movement of people be? Temporary loans or permanent hires, for example?
Lisa, do you want to pick that up?
Happy to. Temporary or permanent, part-time and full-time, bottom line.
You do it all.
Yep.
Great. I'd like to ask all of you, and Ellyn can start it off, to talk about a little bit more about this idea of getting beyond the walls of companies, the boundaries of industries, to create personal connections that accelerate change, that actually land it to do something good. Where do you see this taking us, this idea, possibly with other innovations in the future?
Well, I think there's been a big movement toward, stakeholder capital and really looking beyond just shareholders as important stakeholders in your business. And I think for the 4 of us, our people are our most important source of competitive advantage as an organization. And when you see the tides changing like a tsunami, you really start to believe that if you can do something, you must do something. And I think the whole focus on responsible leadership that companies, and I've done a lot of studying of this, Nina, and I feel really strongly about it. And the economic outcomes of companies are better when they build trust with all their stakeholders. And I think that this is just going to be the new way of working in the new world as we move forward.
So Lisa Buckingham of Lincoln Financial, what would you say?
So I would say from the standpoint of breaking down barriers, bringing around the opportunity to literally make a difference in the world, rally people around, helping others. We can't train that in people, but you can show it. And if you can show how we can help, and from our perspective and my perspective, I should say, there is such a purpose-driven opportunity here from that. And what I would also say, this is a modernization time of many, many things. And if we can do this right, we will, and all learn from it.
And Pat Wadors of ServiceNow, what did you learn through this whole process, whether about yourself, your company, your relationships with peers?
I'm an introvert. This has made me extend my energy outwards more often than I normally am comfortable with because of the passion project that turns into compassion. I've learned that we should embody that we should compete on products and services, not on talent. That caring for the human and their families, if you do that well, your company thrives, your brand thrives, human lives are improved. And keeping that human in the middle and people's willingness to do that has been so heartwarming for me. And I'm learning every day from my peers. It's a gift.
Same question to you, Christy Pambianchi of Verizon. What did you learn about yourself, your relationships, your company through all this? Christy?
I think the first thing was there was just this overwhelming feeling of helplessness as day by day the unemployment level was growing. And as much as each of us are on the front line inside our companies helping manage the COVID response and keeping our people safe, us and our HR teams are really working very hard, absorbing a significant amount of emotional stress and pain, trying to navigate through all of this uncertainty. And then overwhelming on top of that, you look and hear things like depression level unemployment. And so it was through the outreach to the colleagues here on the call where we just started to say, can't we do something above and beyond what we're doing to help in our own companies? And it was just in that connectivity to the peers here that are with me that I started to feel just a little less hopeless. And just like there was an opportunity to do something exponential if we all work together and do the things that Ellyn referenced, like break the paradigms, break down the rules of normal engagement, have a compassion project like Pat and Lisa highlighted. And it's a little bit like that child on the beach putting one starfish back in the ocean when an entire, millions are washed up. And the parent says, you're never going to be able to save the starfish. But she says, yeah, but I made a difference to that one. And we started this saying, well, maybe we'll help one person. And if we do that success, hopefully we'll help millions. And so for me, I'm finding strength to carry on from everything I'm learning from all of my colleagues in HR.
And Christine, Deputy of Nordstrom's, what have you learned about managing through crisis in these past difficult weeks?
Well, I think, when we're affected by something so massive like this, it's pretty scary. And one of the things that I guess I would fall back on is core values are so important at times like this. So one of the core values at Nordstrom is extend yourself. And we think about that, extend yourself to your communities, to your coworkers, to your family, to the people around you. And that means extend yourself not just when you want to offer, get help or ask for something, but extend yourself when you can help and you need help. And I think that I guess in these times, I think what's been really reinforcing is that as we've all reached out to each other, I don't think I've had one person say, no, I won't share what I'm doing. And that is just incredibly reassuring. And just as much as, hey, I'll share what I'm doing, they've also been highly vulnerable and said, hey, I don't know how to do this. What have you done? And I think if we could hold on to that all the time, we'd be that much better off. And so I'm just going to keep reminding myself to extend myself, both when I need help and when I have something to offer.
And Donna Morris of Walmart, how has this period changed your perspective as a leader?
Well, the interesting thing is I actually joined Walmart right before this pandemic hit. So I joined the company on February 17th. And it was early March when we realized that this was going to impact not only Walmart, but the society broadly to a great extent. So I'll have two perspectives. One is it made me realize that when you come on board an organization, you have to be aligned with its purpose. And I've absolutely joined the right organization. I'm so aligned with our focus to serve our associates and serve the communities that we're participating in. So one is this perspective around people should be guided to serve in general, and they should be guided to follow their passion. So that's one aspect. The other is change. We always speak about change is our friend and change is inevitable. But I think this highlights the fact that we have entered a period where people's physical well-being, their emotional well-being, their financial well-being is all being questioned. And I think it's our opportunity to re-architect what the future looks like. So my second comment, it would be that the HR function has an incredible opportunity for impact. There's no time like the present for all of us to collectively support our organization's purpose and the purpose of the people that don't just work for us, but broadly are in the communities in which we live. So it's frankly humbling to be in a situation in which we're trying to support the communities, our frontline associates, and frankly, provide opportunities for others to work at this time.
And Ellyn Shook of Accenture, having listened to these incredibly powerful insights, what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts, Nina, are quite simple. In a time like this, regardless of what side the equation you're on, lead with your heart, lead with compassion, and act. You can help so many so quickly if you collaborate to accelerate the pace of change. Please help us put the world back to work. We look forward to you joining us.
And just one more note, I know there's a lot of questions coming in on how to join the platform. Can you just where do people go, and then we'll wrap it up?
Sure. We will post this on LinkedIn so that everyone can see it, but you can find us at People+Work Connect at Accenture.com.
Great. Thank you all, ladies. It's been a terrific, and as I said at the front, terrifically timely and important session. I thank you for being here, and thank you for our audience for joining. Good afternoon.